Hello, Galaxy. An exasperated Chris Pirillo here, wanting to apologize for once again starting a live stream in the wrong channel.
You were reminded.
I was reminded, but I did flip it. I flipped from the streaming into Twitch, but I flipped it to streaming into the Chris Pirillo YouTube channel. I've already published my video there for today, which seems to have caused a few people to get their underwear in a wad. Like, I've never seen more wriggling and writhing of people trying to defend their choice for wanting to spend $1,000 on a smartphone. Like, let me put it, this whole argument, you know, whether or not these devices are worth it, comes down to this. Would you or would you not take that same smartphone you have in your hands for half the price? If you said no, man, must be nice to be you. But I tell you what, if I had to pay half as much to get a device, yeah, I'd pay half as much to get a device. That's where the argument begins. That's where the argument ends. I'm sorry, I don't see a single smartphone on the planet that's remotely worth, and with the hardware in conjunction with the software in conjunction with the Surface, remotely worth $1,000. I don't care how much R&D they pour into it. So people over in the other YouTube channel commenting on today's video, basically saying, well, I think it's worth it. Like, you're the reason we have $1,000 smartphones. That's not an accolade. Don't pat yourself on the back. I understand you've justified your decision. Trust me, you're making matters worse. Because now Apple's going to be sitting there going, well, maybe next year we'll make it $1,500. And you'll buy it because you believe it's worth it. The Emperor has no clothes. We have the first Super Chat today, posted here in Discord. If you want a Super Chat, you got to do it live on YouTube when this video is live on YouTube, assuming I'm streaming into the proper channel. Von Goy says, just saying, hey, missed the last couple streams. No worries, mate. I keep doing these things. In fact, tomorrow's live stream, we're going to do two. We're going to do one tomorrow morning in this channel, assuming I remember to flip it back to this channel. And then tomorrow, right around 4 p.m. Pacific, we begin the iPhone 10 device fund drive thing. I've already written out the description and explained it in the description so everyone can read it. That's going to be a very long live stream. With any luck, you will have funded the iPhone 10. Not me. I'm just here to review things, not to go broke, okay? Certainly not for a device that I would not intend on using as a daily driver. Okay, we don't also have, by the way, a couple of other super chats. Ed Lex does not have a comment, but he does have a super chat. And Shirag Badkar says, hello, Chris, Galaxy here. Some people are kind of thrown off when I talk about the Galaxy. I'm not talking about a device. I'm talking about something far more valuable, and that would be the Star Wars Galaxy. Like, is it the Star Wars shirts you're not understanding at all? Like, this is not a phone. These collectibles back here, not phones. Just have to let you know that. Some people are just kind of behind the curve, assuming that, they just think that my life is this, just slapped up against technology. No, I actually live life beyond that and do things that I enjoy. Pop Chips is a treat that I enjoy. A nice little segue there. I can't eat these. These are Galaxy Puffs. I saw them in the store a few months back. They're aged white cheddar. That's why I can't eat these. They're not vegan. I did drop them a line. I said, hey, what about a vegan Star Wars Pop Chips? Because this, to me, is an amazing little mashup. Jedi loves them. And they have sponsored a tweet and an Instagram post that'll go public tomorrow. This particular mention is not sponsored, but I just thought I'd slide that in there. Just mention that this is much more fun to me. Jedi's enjoyed them, so we've got a few on hand. I've enjoyed the Pop Chips when I've popped them in the past. And they are popped, by the way. These are popped with the Force. I don't know if you knew this. They're available, or they should be available in your local store, local retailer. I also have to give a shout out to Joe Blau before I forget. Joe has sent this year's first seasonal card. This one happens to be a Christmas card, though we are happy to receive Hanukkah cards, Kwanzaa cards, Festivus cards, Life Day cards, New Year's Day card, whatever winter holiday, even the solstice, the thing that started it all. Like, if you're wondering the reason for the season, thank those people who did the whole winter solstice thing, because that's the reason why we're doing it. So thank you, Joe. I appreciate this. We appreciate this. He addressed it to everybody, including Jedi and also the dogs, Wicket and Pixie. Joe's been a longtime supporter of ours, so it'll go somewhere on the mantle. We haven't received a lot of Christmas cards or holiday cards over the past few years, not since we stopped vlogging. We had a huge, flood, and then it just... And for a lot of different reasons. I think people just stopped celebrating Christmas. That just feels like it's the reason. I could be wrong. Maybe you still do. Maybe you still celebrate a winter holiday. We celebrate Life Day. It's coming up in a few days. Though this to us is the Life Day holiday season. We celebrate it all the way through, and at least until December 25th. Not everybody does, though. You can head over to go.tagjag.com/free points, as Liz talked under me to get this in there, asking how I get the gifts that I get. We earn gift cards courtesy of go.tagjag.com/free points. You can install that on either iOS or Android right now. Whether or not you have an iPhone worth $100 or an iPhone worth over $1,000, you can still use the same applications, even if I can't say that word as well as I would like to. You could use the same applications. In fact, I would go as far as to say that the least popular smartphone choice today, as far as an iPhone is concerned, is probably a better choice, at least as far as the value that you might receive. I think the iPhone SE exceeds the value of the iPhone 10, if only because of what you pay for and what you actually get in return. Some people would argue, no, I need to have the most expensive thing. I don't know if I'm that kind of person. Not at all.
Tony had a question.
Oh, Tony had a question. Okay, I don't see it. Am I excited for Justice League? Asks Chirag. I guess. I know it's a movie that's coming up with Superman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and the Flash, but I enjoy DC stuff. I finally saw Wonder Woman. I was able to rent it for free. That's usually how I experience movies. But the general excitement is really getting sucked into the whole realm of Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars I'm excited for.
Just a Star Wars question, and I'm preparing you for it. Look,
okay.
On the screen.
Thank you. Tony Yoon. Well,
no,
I don't even.
Just wildlife. Just
hang on. Just
it.
give me a minute, Liz. I was in the middle of answering a question or addressing the Justice League question.
Okay, sorry.
Before I have a chance to move on. Liz thinks because she's in the room, suddenly she's the producer. All right, so. Anyway, before I was very nicely interrupted, I'm not going to say rude. Liz is not rude. Justice League is something I'd look forward to, but I'd likely wait until I don't have to spend any money on a ticket. That just kind of shows you where it ranks. Versus watching Star Wars in theaters for, a few times. I don't know how many times. Okay, let me scroll back. I don't like scrolling back in Discord. While we're on the topic, Tony Yoon asks, question 558, can you name a few instances where you are more productive on Android than iOS? A few instances, task switching, using notifications, and also typing. I think I'm typing a lot quicker on Android than I am. I also happen to enjoy email, the experience a little more. I enjoy being able to change the default applications on Android more so than iOS. I think Apple, would serve its audience pretty well. I don't think they're going to do that, but there's the number one reason would probably be that I can set my own defaults and find something that fits me, and you can't do that with iOS. With iOS, it's one size fits all, and I think that's a big boon to productivity. Okay, so before I can move to the super chat, I apologize. I got to take care of whatever's in my hand. Duff's Wildlife. Chris, have you seen the AR Star Wars Jedi Challenge? If so, will you get one? I have not seen it. I've not. So I'm not going to get one. By the way, this is the AR Jedi Challenges. I do have one. Although I think I need an application for iOS or Android, and it hasn't been released yet. But what's cool about this, I thought we talked about this a few weeks ago. I apologize if we didn't. I thought we did. You can do lightsaber battles, strategic combat, and holo chess. They should really have called that Dejarik. But what's nice about this, I thought it was VR, but it's actually AR from Lenovo. My connections over at Maker ended up passing this along. I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. So I'm very grateful to have this particular experience. I just haven't heard anything about it after having had that. I also had a surprise package. Speaking of Disney, and I'll get to Chris Mowell Finch's super chat in just a moment. Disney sent a surprise package of their new Toy Box figure line, And this was really neat because I knew of at least the Star Wars ones. And if you played the Disney Infinity game, which I did a few times, I liked the figures most of all. So effectively, they took those same figures from Disney Infinity, that same style, and turned them into substantially taller figures. So here's Thor, and I also got the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. And in that series, the Marvel series, also Iron Man. I say Iron Man is my favorite of the three. Jedi asked where Spider-Man was. I'm like, we didn't get Spider-Man, sweetie. So we may actually have to either wait on Spider-Man or find Spider-Man in the store. We don't really collect Spider-Man stuff, but we do collect awesome Star Wars figures. And I can definitely see myself getting every one of these that they produce. The scale is a little taller than 3 3/4, not quite 6 inches, so maybe about 4 to 5 inches in the scale. There's Rey. And we also have a Stormtrooper, First Order Stormtrooper, and Kylo Ren. They're ramping up, seemingly, for the Last Jedi movie, which, as I mentioned before, I'm going to see several times in the theater. Really nice box art. Really wonderful stuff to have on the shelf. Let me go ahead and scroll. Oh, there's the super chat. For whichever fund is on the go, don't worry about the last name. Everyone gets it wrong. Well, hopefully I didn't mess it up. Then we have David Horvath, who comes in. He says, love your thoughts on devices and price. Grabbed iPhone 7 recently because need iMessage, but love Xperia once they grow a few months old. Oh, Experience, maybe? What's Xperia? Good Android experience for the price. Oh, that's the Sony product, right? I don't think I ever had a Sony smartphone. I might. No, I've used one. I saw one, and at the time I saw one, I'm like, okay. And at that point, I would say something like, well, not the iPhone. It certainly was not. I want to be careful not to break this, but love what they're doing with this idea. Let's go ahead and pop her out, and I will continue to show you what else Disney had sent in this
you don't have
mini haul.
earbuds, do you? Someone's asking you a question.
I do not have Pixel earbuds. No plans on getting them either, because Google hasn't exactly been hitting home runs as far as experience and prices are concerned. I hope for the better next time around that Google can actually nail user experience and price. But I kind of alluded to them earlier today. See, people always think that I'm inclined to be let's see here. What's the best word I could use? Critical about one company or the other, but I'm critical about every company, especially if I think that they are not doing their users a service or any favors by approaching the marketplace the way they are, and that's probably largely in the realm of tech, but certainly there are other businesses out there that I think don't serve their users very well. The reason why I don't want to scroll in Discord is because it gets caught. Okay, I thought you said scroll. Okay. I know it's difficult to get a word in edgewise when I'm talking.
I'm just not going to talk.
But I'm trying to get through Ray. Will you be willing to play BF2 with patrons, Twitch subs, Discord peeps, please? Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I can. I don't think I can manage it because I'm doing the PlayStation 4. And I don't think I can easily cross over from Discord to PlayStation 4. So, no. But I'll be streaming onto YouTube. I'd like to. That'd be kind of neat. But I also don't plan on playing Battlefront Online. I plan on playing the story mode. Because I'm not, a great game player. I just enjoy playing the Star Wars video games. And so, yeah, we'll see. But I don't think there's a way to set it up specifically how I'm going to do it. And I'm definitely not going to boot up a PC just to play Battlefront. Chris Malfinch says, good enough, law. Well, I tried. Thank you for giving me credit for that. Here is Rey, by the way, that figure. And we have multiple points of articulation. The lightsaber does come out of her hands. We've got the shoulders, kind of looks like a ball joint. The shoulders also at the elbow. And the wrists also pivot. Her head swivels as well. And the nice thing is she can have this little force gesture there. Her legs, or I don't see here. Her hips kind of swivel. There is kind of a way to swivel, although her tunic kind of gets in the way. Not a big deal. Knees bend. Ankles also bend up and down. I don't know if we can pivot. No, we can't really pivot any other way. But she should be able to stand well enough on her own. Yeah, this is a really nice Rey figure. I love the style of these figures. Man, I love these style. Shirag says, will have to just create a gaming channel here to get everyone's PS4 IDs, but you're right, you won't have Discord chat integration. Yeah, I don't think we're going to go that far, necessarily. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how complex it is. You know, my inclination is that we're going to stream Battlefront gameplay into the Star Wars Radar YouTube channel. This is a question that seems to be asked, like, every other day. Star Wars Radar on Twitter's got 48,000 followers, so you can follow me there. And then we also have the YouTube channel, Star Wars Radar. That's where I'm going to be doing all the gameplay, and I'm planning on doing it daily. Like, once the game arrives. I even saved $10 on the game. Just the basic version. I'm not going to spend any more than I need to. Sorry, EA!
You tweeted that out.
What?
You tweeted that deal out.
Yo, it got tweeted from LockerGnome, I'd assume. Yeah, so I found it. I'm like, that's the deal that I took advantage of. Yes, Lisa says, the reason I talk is because I always talk at my computer at home to tell Chris what he should be doing to the void. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm actually in the same room, driving the live stream as I normally do.
Someone
I'm
asked if you have any
fully
thoughts
capable.
on Soylent.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Did they find out that it's got, like, extra garbage in it?
I don't know, but I'd rather eat Whole Foods.
Yes.
And I don't mean that as the brand Whole Foods, but I'm a whole food plant-based vegan. Which means, you know, I eat a whole food, as in, I'm not going to drink apple juice, number one, because it spikes your blood sugar. Juice is the worst thing you put in your body. But specifically, like, I would eat the apple, the whole apple, everything, the pulp and the skin and everything. That's whole food.
Michael asked you how was your day.
The day was great. I don't think anything really big happened. Nothing nasty happened. I got some Star Wars stuff, so it was a good day. That's all you have to know. Like, did Chris get Star Wars stuff? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, it was a good day. No, well, I don't know. It's
I got Star Wars stuff.
touch and go. Yeah, we got a few Star Wars things. So, let's see here. Did I get them all? No. I like the fact that these are easier to pull out than the other Disney figures. The Elite series are nice and very detailed, but, like, you can kill yourself getting them out of the packaging. So, First Order Stormtrooper, they do seem to be a bit top-heavy. The legs are a bit, more thin. You can kind of see from that angle. I love the style, though. The design of this particular figure, these figures, is rather epic. Oh, let's see if I can get them to balance. Like I said, I'm a little worried that the legs are just a little... Oh, no. They've done some testing. They got them to work. I just love that style. Oh, it's just so cool. I like the toy box style, which is reminiscent of Disney Infinity. I liked it then, too. Always felt bad when they just stopped short of producing all the figures. So we've not seen a Stormtrooper figure from the Disney Infinity line. So this would be the first one of the Stormtrooper. Cool. We've seen Rey, we've seen Kylo, but not the other ones.
Someone asked, when are you doing the iPhone 10 Find Marathon?
Oh, didn't I mention that already?
Well,
I swear I did.
They're new.
Okay.
Re-inform them.
Okay, I did. Yes, I did mention it. Yeah, tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the other channel. So yeah, you can tune in for that. I think we're gonna do as I mentioned before. I know this is the difficult thing about doing live streams is some people tune in like halfway. Although I don't think anybody watches these TLDR episodes after they're live. That's my belief. I don't think if it's not live, I don't think anybody tunes
Earl
in.
Does.
Earl may be like the only person to do that. And so he'll be happy if we're going live tomorrow morning.
Someone says, will you Instagram some pictures of those Star Wars things you're unboxing?
Yeah, I'll probably post them to the Star Wars Radar Instagram, if you don't mind. I've got, of course, the other ones, and I'll be opening those. But of course, you know me, I'm gonna dive into the Star Wars figures first. I've always been a fan of figures, always, ever since I can remember.
Chris Smallfinch says he watches it after.
Oh well, he's watching right now.
And Byron says that he watches it if he misses it live. Mixology says it.
There we go.
So there you go.
Speeding, well, that makes 4 of them, or 5, or however many people. So how many apples with the bite taken out of each one can we all send Chris? What are you talking about? Huh?
There's one in the kitchen right now.
What?
I don't know.
Sometimes I make a joke and I don't even recognize it, and then when someone says something, I'm just like, huh?
Someone in YouTube says, are you worried about Disney over commoditizing Star Wars?
Nope. Next.
But you do have a problem with some of the stuff that the Disney store is putting out, right? Some of the products?
No.
No? Okay. Someone else says I watch it after. Someone, and then the last says, give me all the Star Wars. There's a lot of people that say they watch it after.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Chris. Oh, yeah, I already answered that there. Caramel apple. I still don't understand where Speeding Cheetah is coming from.
I'm not sure.
Oh, really, Liz? Now you fall silent? Like, I'm just like, all right, well, Liz wants to run this thing, so go for it. And so I don't say anything.
Closer to the mic. Maybe tomorrow. If there's enough tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. So.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I also got these other ones here. Here's the Kylo Ren. But that's a really nice one, man. This is really nice. So, like, in terms of the price value, I would definitely say, just based on the detail and the styling, as well as the points of articulation, which some people love, and the balance. It works as a balance very, very well. It looks like it's just a straight-up cartoon, like, brought into figure form. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be a new series that I would collect. Loosened and carded. Oh, it's so cool. Let's see. Can you get the Kylo helmet off? It seems like you kind of can, but not really. No, I don't think so. I don't think the cloak.
Joe Toshi says, "What do you think of the controversy around EA and Battlefront 2?"
EA has been at least responsive, but I had a problem with EA last year. With Battlefront, last year, 2 years ago, when they did the Battlefront 2015 or whatever. I don't think that. Okay, hang on just a second. I don't think that the. Give me a second. What the heck? I can't get to that. I don't know if I'd say that they didn't respond appropriately. I just wish EA or any company would develop games the way that they used to be developed. I get tired of microtransactions and pay to play. Like, if I buy a game for $50, I want to play a video game that I'm going to enjoy, and there's some online gameplay and upgrades and all that stuff. But the way that EA handled it is they at least replied and dropped the price or the time invested to be able to unlock certain characters, which is totally fine. I think that's a great way of doing it, but at least people were causing a ruckus, and EA responded. Some companies wouldn't respond at all, but the fact that people pushed EA to the point where they had to reply, that's awesome. Like, and so EA responded. I mean, I would love to hear that, we won't have to pay for anything after we paid for the game. I'd be willing to pay for values. For example, I bought, as you very well know, and you very well remember, I bought the, what's her name? Iden Verso? The figure, or the Battlefront figure that came as an exclusive. As I did the first time around, too, the Battlefront Trooper a couple of years ago. I was more excited for that, the actual physical collectible, more so than the actual, like, digital anything. Digital bonuses don't mean much to me. So I don't think EA is going to change its approach. I don't think it's going to change its style, but the fact that people were able to get them to make a decision change, I think speaks volumes. At least EA responded, so I'll give them credit for that. If they didn't respond and they went full steam ahead, then I'd be a little more concerned about that. I'd still play Battlefront because I know a lot of people are going to want to play it. It's a very popular franchise. It's a very popular game. It's a great way to kind of kick off the Star Wars Radar YouTube channel. But yeah, I plan on playing Star Wars Battlefront 2. I absolutely do. Yasser's asking how to connect Twitch with Discord. Those instructions are specifically on my Twitch profile.
Has to reconnect. That was his thing.
The instructions are still on my Twitch profile. Everything, including troubleshooting steps. So that's it. I got you covered. You're set. You'll be fine. And then you'll be welcome aboard. I don't know in terms of comparing Discord. I got it, Liz. I got it. I'm good. I know how to do this. Swear to God, I do. Speeding Cheetah says, you say $1,000 is way too much for today's flagship smartphones. What would you say to those who buy and use the $8,000 Lamborghini or Ferrari smartphones? Well, they got money to burn. I'm not going to slag them. They want to spend $8,000 on a smartphone. That's great. But I'm just telling you, I'm warning you right now that when Apple does something, so moves the rest of the industry. So maybe you're happy paying $1,000 for a smartphone, for a flagship smartphone. Apple's just going to inch forward, you know? They're going to say that. They're going to say, you know, people were willing to pay $1,000. What about $1,500? What if we just do something different in this one? That's $1,500. They'll be willing to spend the money. And then pretty soon it's going to be, you know, they were willing to pay $1,500, $1,750, $2,000. This is, you're responding the way they were hoping you'd respond. You bought into it. You bought into the prestige. You bought into that idea of a luxury brand. What has Chris been saying? It's a fashion statement. The iPhone is not worth $1,000. Like, you know, he was kind of getting there, like, even a couple years ago, like, when we were pushing into the $800 territory. I'm like, all right, well, it's not $1,000. Suddenly it is. And you have to put up with the UX nightmares? Okay, I guess to you that's worth $1,000. To me, it's not. You know, I'm barely, holding on, like, with this pinky, you know, just at least this tiny little muscle, to hoping that Google is going to reverse itself in terms of its trend with pricing of the Pixel series. And I know they can't undercut their OEMs, but I think they need to. I don't think people would be flocking to the Pixel series in droves if it was half off, but I think it would make these mind-numbingly, egregious shortcomings in software a little more palatable. Like, people are upset about certain things that Google says, we acknowledge, we're working on it in software. Man, turn that stuff around. I'll give Apple that. You know, they turned around that whole dumb autocorrect issue. They patched that in 11.1 or 11.1.1. I don't know. I've kind of lost track. I'm on the 11.2 beta, which I am happy to report that in experimenting here on the iPad, which I'm still inclined not to hold on to, in experimenting on the iPad, that's how often I use news. It launched there like that. iTunes Store, I don't use all that much. They fixed the bug with the dock not popping up on app exit. If I launch this app, there was an earlier bug that existed in every version of iOS, all the way up until this most recent beta of iOS 11.2, where when I would exit out of that app, what would happen is it would pop up the dock and then disappear real quickly. And now it's fine. There's still an annoying flash that sometimes happens, like when I open up an application. Sometimes when I open the dock, there will be kind of like a flashing of the dock icons. But it's not as, that wasn't as jarring as the popping up of the dock that has existed pretty much since the beginning of iOS, the first beta of iOS 11, or at least the first beta with this kind of dock functionality. So yeah, certainly iOS is steadily improving. But when Apple recognizes that a lot of people are paying attention to a bug, they fix it. Unfortunately, this is the problem, and I kind of spoke to this in the video earlier in the other channel. The problem is that Google's only paying attention to the bugs that get covered in the media. See, I mean, they pay attention to other bugs, but I'm saying the ones that get priority are the ones that the media prioritizes, and the media very rarely prioritizes software bugs. Maybe Android's a little different though than compared to iOS in terms of the bugs that get squashed. But I see a lot of software-related issues that Google has yet to patch in their rollouts, their monthly rollouts. And now we have to wait potentially until the November security update gets pushed down the pike, and then people can actually get it. I couldn't get the October update until I updated to the Android 8.1 beta, but the next Android 8.1 beta is slated to be here in the month of November. Better Said comes in with a super chat. Chris, what do you think about the drop shipping business? I'm getting started with a niche online store, but I feel like it might take a while. Any ROI? I would love to hear your 5 cents. I don't have that much experience with it, and from my understanding, effectively what you're doing is just you're creating a store and then reselling other products. So this could work, but the competition is beyond stiff. If that's the type of business that you're in, where you're effectively taking a commodity and you're selling it, you would have or reselling it effectively. You would have a better chance of doing this if you were leveraging an existing brand or addressing a certain kind of community that cannot or just could not be addressed in any other way. So that comes down to either having a community or knowing which niche you're covering, and if it's already being covered well enough independent of you. If you cannot consistently drive the lowest prices, understand people are just going to go searching for the lowest prices, the coupon codes to save money. It's a race to the bottom. And I'm not saying it can't happen, because you could go through search engine arbitrage and optimization and potentially cut out competition. But I think your best bet is to actually, in terms of what you're doing, take that same niche and definitely develop content and a community around it such that when they're looking to support you, they go through your business. So I think that it's a really, it's a challenging prospect. It is possible to do if, again, I'm understanding the situation that you're covering here, especially talking about drop shipping and a niche online store. Competition is heavy. You can get into original products, but you've also got to know what people want, and you've got to be able to produce it. And then you've got a completely different pipeline of product from, creating it to shipping it to, satisfaction of the product. I mean, it's easier said than done, so to speak. Someone says I should start doing ASMR videos. Probably not going to be a thing for me, but if you stay tuned, you never know. I might start whispering. That's been known to happen at times. Although, it's not a thing I'm going to want to be known for. Some people might want to be known for it, but I'm good. I think that's how you know it's Chris is bored, if he starts doing ASMR videos. Because people do it. Like, even the whole that mukbang, eating the food thing. We've kind of done that, like, not really, but like with the Geek Family Fun videos. I did one today with Jedi in the backseat, and Liz just did a haul. She's going to make food. Assuming she's not going to spit in it.
No, only if it was just for you.
Oh, just
but
for
it's for Diana and Jedi, too.
Tony Yoon says the iPhone was always competitively priced to the Note, and the Note is not going to get cheaper, and inflation won't slow down either, and the rich aren't getting any poorer either. Yeah, that's the thing. I still don't know if the prices are just justifiable. I understand the price of the components and the shipping and all, and manufacturing, and everybody's got to make money. But I think in terms of what you get from it, it's really hard to justify. I mean, maybe you're in a payment program where you pay X dollars a month and you're in this constant upgrade cycle. I think that is a far more valid proposition than buying these phones outright. But even then, you could get a device that is ample, that is just as good for what you might use it for as a newer device. And I think that's where the software kind of hits this ceiling, this diminishing return. The hardware may be getting better, but the software just is stunted. And that's a challenge. AH came in with a super chat. Thank you for that. I don't know if we have a question associated with that. What is all on your shelf in the back? Star Wars stuff. That's it. Unless you're talking about the Tix clocks, at which point I will tell you those are Tix clocks. So they're lights. You're actually I'm aboard a starship, just so you know. I'm floating in outer space right now. I'm weighted down by Velcro. This is an outer space live broadcast, just so you know. Apple are stubborn. We will be seeing the notch for at least 2 more hardware cycles. That's also my fear. It's a big fear of mine. Next year as they release their new iPhones, I have a feeling that we've seen the last days of these traditional usable models from iOS. It's a concern. It doesn't mean that the notch will be around forever. Certainly, I would expect technology to advance to the point where they would mitigate it. They should have done it in the first place. But Apple's making its decisions, and that's the decision Apple cares to make. You have to decide whether that's for you. For some people it is. For me, I'm not so sure about that. Better Said comes in with another super chat, says, yeah, not an original product, and SEO can be very tricky. You're right. It's definitely a stiff market to be in. Thank you, Chris. Always helpful. I wish I had more insight for you in terms of tricks and tips around that, but to me, it's a foundation of having that community base. So even in saying that, there are many ways to kind of get that done. I've tried similar types of products in and around the things I've wanted to do. If I did anything in that realm, it wouldn't necessarily be drop shipping, but I'd work with an artist on doing like a series of pixel art T-shirts and pixel art stuff. I'd be happy to do that. But those would be original products. They wouldn't be reselling anything else. For that, we'd link off to Amazon or eBay and use the affiliate program. AH says the question would be, the biggest problem with Android is fragmentation. More devices currently running Gingerbread than running Oreo. You have to buy the latest device to receive any sort of updates, unless you buy from Google directly. Thoughts? I don't disagree. I mean, it's been certainly a big issue with Android. But I think, if you're savvy enough, you don't necessarily need to go through Google to get an affordable device with a newer operating system. That's going to get better, I'd assume, as long as OEMs embrace Oreo's project. I mean, I've taught Treble, talked about it before, where they can better abstract their modifications, to the operating system, such that users get updates on a quicker basis. I expect that to take hold, or would be taking hold by next year. There are a lot of challenges, but you could. They're getting better. Let me put it this way: I've seen Essential today launched its beta for Oreo, which is nice. Then the other thing is the Android on the Galaxy series, the new Note series, and I think the new series went to the second beta of Android Oreo. So that's not bad. That's actually, I think they've increased the delta. I think they recognize their users want these things and expect them from a flagship device. You can go with an Android One experience. It doesn't mean you're going to get top of the line. You definitely aren't going to be going through Google. I expect a lot of those products to be more prevalent in the coming years. So you can do it. You don't have to go through Google. I would argue Google needs to lower its pricing in order to compete with the marketplace. I also argue that Google needs to create its own Android One experience. That would answer and allay a lot of concerns and questions. It'd certainly make me, I'd be more confident in promoting that as a possibility, an Android One experience directly from Google, than I am the Pixel lines. So I don't know what you would call it. Maybe you would call it like the Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL, and the Pixel 2 Basic, or something that sounds not horrible. I don't know if I'd call it the Basic, but baseline, or I don't know. I'd have to come up with a good word. Not that Google would listen to me or my branding, but there's a way to definitely have that, pan out in Google's benefit, as well as the benefit of the general marketplace. Chris, was the Project R idea too out there to be something you use? Wasn't that the idea of modularity? Yeah, I thought it was a dumb idea when I heard about it. You want to talk about gimmick? So I wonder how many people would waste their money on one of those. Well, I don't think they ever had a chance to waste their money on one of those, because it never actually happened. #shock. Great idea, on paper, but I never saw that thing taking off. Then we have... Oh, you got the...
I lost one. I'll bring it back.
Hang on. There's already rumors for a 6.5-inch OLED iPhone and a 6.1-inch LED iPhone with the notch on all three phones for 2018. Isn't that a great rumor? This is where, if I wasn't trying to be not advertiser friendly, I would start dropping swear words. Because that's how I feel. I feel it's just it's a huge mistake. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I'm going to die on that hill. Someone said, you're going to die on that hill. I'm like, well, it ain't because I didn't know what was going on. Maybe when Apple gets its software act together, it'll make sense. But it ain't got its software act together. Speaking of, did anybody else try Firefox Quantum? I downloaded it to my desktop, installed it, went to resize the window, and it was like, this is when I was resizing the window, and I was expecting resizing, right? But it was like, I'm like, okay, close, delete, uninstall, gone. That was my Firefox Quantum review. Nay. Sorry. I haven't even looked at Firefox for years. I'm like, I'll give it a try. They say speed and everything, but really? It was like I was running Windows 3.1 again with that resize. I don't think so. I prefer my browsers to not feel like they're running on Windows 3.1. Thank you very much. Vartan K comes in with an early super chat for the iPhone 10 fund. That's tomorrow, Vartan. You know very well. I've got the cost effectively documented. And let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up on my iPad of all things. It's gonna be titled iPhone 10. You crowdfund it for my review. I'm putting the power in your hands, but it says the video is going to be live for 30 minutes to 4 hours, determined largely by the flow of super chat funds that come in. Once things start slowing down to an intermittent pace and it's obvious that interest has peaked, the live video will end and it will likely be determined whether or not we met the goal. So I did the calculations, and according to where I am here in the state of Washington, it'll be $1,267 for the iPhone 10 plus that's with the tax. The iPhone 10 plus tax all built in. And if I'm going to give it a review, I have to use it the way I would normally use it, and unfortunately, I'm not on a 64 gig model. Plus, Google takes 30% of their super chats, so it would be an additional $381. So that would be $1,648 for you to raise with super chats on YouTube tomorrow in that video alone. The other ones don't count. Sorry, not sorry. I've got to keep this as well organized as I possibly can. Now, if you can't make the live stream and you still want to donate to it, what I'm going to do is recalculate the Pixelpalooza link, go.tagjag.com/devicefund, for those who can't make the live stream. Though that goal you see on that page will inevitably decrease as super chat funds are accounted for after today, and that's not expected that much will come in apart from what happens in super chat. I have to be careful, and here's why. Because the iPhone 10 can and only will be purchased after all funds have cleared. And in Google's case, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to take a day. I don't know if it's going to take a month. I don't know if it's going to take 2 months. I don't have an answer to that question. So it's not that I can just turn around and do it, because I've done that in the past. And the funds didn't clear, and then I ended up taking a bath. I'm not going to do that. Sorry, not sorry. So once they clear, that's when it'll happen. The turnaround time for GoFundMe is definitely more expedient. The cutoff for this particular fund will happen a week after tomorrow, with the bulk of the possibility, again, contingent on super chats based upon my prior experience. So if we don't make that goal, this is important, the 1648 during tomorrow's live broadcast, all participants will still be properly credited in a to-be-determined future video, and those donations could be earmarked for future device review possibilities and or seen as a token of appreciation. So they will likely flow into something else. How can we donate and have more money to go direct to you? PayPal? No, I don't. I'd rather go through obfuscation for a lot of different reasons. So no is the answer to that question. A great way of doing it, if you want to do it on a regular basis, if you're serious about it, if you want to do it on a regular basis, bump up your pledges, and you want to support me, bump up your pledges on Twitch. I think you can go as high as $25 a month. Bump up your pledges on Patreon. It's a great way to support on a continued basis. Because if we end up getting enough on both of those sides, on both those equations, it could end up being that the patrons and the subs end up having to do this rather than, me turning to super chats for everything. There's no perfect way of doing it, unfortunately. And I'd apologize for it, but this is something everyone keeps asking about. So I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm letting you control my destiny. Wherever it is that I go is completely up to you. Chris, thoughts on Star Citizen? I have no idea what that is. Anyone using HTC phones? I have one right here. I'm glad you asked. It's very blue. Right there. This blue HTC phone. It's black on the front. Party in the, what is it? Business up front, party in the rear. Is that what they, look at that. I just really like that blue. And you know me, I'm not really a black device, or I'm not really a colored device guy, but man, that blue is just outstanding. It really is. Thoughts on the Moto 4, X4? That would be one I'd like to try. I don't know if I necessarily, redirect those funds to it. I may be interested in doing a Moto X4 or an Android One device drive, depending on how the iPhone 10 one goes. Okay, so, for you to understand, here's the thing. I already paid for the iPhone 8 Plus. That was not device driven. That was paid for by me. If anything, those funds that go to the iPhone 10 will have helped me pay off the iPhone 8 Plus. So it's not like it's not going to an iPhone in general. There's no perfect way of doing this, people. I'm doing my best with the resources at my disposal. So thank you again for your patience and understanding. It's an Android One. Yeah, I know it's an Android One. IP68 water and dust resistance plus a headphone jack. I don't care so much about the headphone jack, but yeah, I know it's an Android One. That's why I want to take a look at it. I was hoping that the Moto, sorry, not Moto, the phone I just showed you, the HTC U11 Life, was going to be the Android One version. It wasn't. Can't really say much about that. I mean, it's fine. The software's fine. I think for a mid-range, kind of a low-end device, it's actually kind of more of a high-end device being a low-end device because of the price and the value that you get from it. And it's definitely not running Android Oreo either. I would hope that they would get that on beta, but I didn't really follow up with HTC on it. We'll see where they take it next year. I would hope that Google would have that Android One experience for next year, because I think they need to. I think the market deserves it. If Google decided on a new game console, Android One would be a good marketing name for it. Yeah, no, I think One is kind of taken up by Microsoft. Although it's been argued and seen that Microsoft may be done with the Xbox brand, at least as far as we've known it to be. Not that I've got a lot of investment in it, because I don't. I mean, I have an Xbox One. I just don't play all the time. I don't play at all. I mean, I wanted to do Cuphead briefly, and then I heard a lot of people complaining because it was too difficult. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll just stick to my Star Wars figures. Thank you very much. Like these things are not difficult. These things are awesome and they're easy. Earth Girls are easy too. I don't know if you knew that. It's an old film. So I got a Star Wars figure. I got 2 Star Wars figures today. Actually, I got more than 2. These are the Amazon exclusives. The Episode 8 Victor Guard 3. So these are exclusives. Look at this. They came sealed in the box, the Hasbro box. So I'm going to open one of these boxes. I'm going to keep one completely sealed. And they're both in pretty dang good shape, being sent from Amazon. Usually they really screw up the packaging. We'll keep this one sealed, I think.
Marble Dash has a question.
So
I'll bring it back up if you want.
I'm going to open this. And I think I'm going to keep the box, too. I've got to be careful. I don't want to slice too hard, because the last thing you want to do is ruin the box inside the box.
Tony Yoon's iPhone X is finally preparing for shipment.
Okay. Oh, good. There's a good box inside, because one of these boxes I'd keep for display. How come Apple says that one of the reasons why they removed the headphone jack was for better waterproofing, yet when the Galaxy phones have the headphone jack, they're a higher waterproof rating? I guess because Apple's new in the game to water resistance. No, they just want to do their thing differently than others do, I guess. I couldn't answer that question because I'm not Apple. They're pushing towards a more wireless life and a lifestyle. They're also pushing people to get their proprietary connector. You can use Bluetooth headphones, of course, if you wanted to, if you're so inclined. So here are my initial impressions of Victor here, the Elite Praetorian Guard with Heavy Blade. This is the Praetorian Guard that is styled somewhat differently than the one that we've seen in general release. First thing I'd notice, different weaponry. Not going to open him, though. As much as I'd love to, I'd hesitate to, because I want to keep one in the box, and then, eventually, maybe if they go on, I'll have to add it to my wish list. No one's even seen my wish list in years. But the nice thing about this is that the cover art is also styled red, which is different from the normal Black Series stuff. Not just on the front, but the back. So we've got a red coloring of the particular character on the front and the back, which is different. But apart from that, it's a different styled helmet than some of the other Elite Praetorian Guards. This one kind of has the lip kind of coming off the front, which is a subtle difference that I didn't notice until now with the figures. But yeah, this is definitely one for everybody to get. If you're a fan, they're Amazon exclusives. And so I'll also show you this one that I'm also going to keep sealed in the box. Wasn't planning on opening them anyway. I only got one of them, though. The Episode 8, the Stormtrooper Black Series Ultimate Stormtrooper Pack. So if you're into accessories with your troopers, which I'm not as much into the accessories, this would be the one to get. Absolutely. Definitely, like, the one to get. But that's the reason I didn't get 2, because I'm like, well, I'd only have it on display. I was not expecting them to ship in these boxes. Certainly not in good condition. So that was kind of a nice little bonus to be able to keep them in the boxes. Someone says, oh, is this the Star Wars Radar channel? Nope, it isn't. Thanks for asking.
But it's fun to share. It's fun to share all kinds of stuff.
I have the 10 and 8 Plus already. Hang on. You just don't know if I should get the Pixel Law. Yeah, well, Tech Junkies, hang on. The thing about that is if you already have something that you're fine with, stick with it. I hedged my bets. I didn't know if I was going to be sticking with the Pixel 2 XL, but now that I see what it is, I'm not thrilled with the choice because of all the aforementioned reasons, but I probably, and I think I mentioned this in yesterday's video, or at least in the podcast possibly, I would be just as inclined to not have upgraded to the iPhone 8 Plus. I think I'd been okay. Passing the iPhone 7 Plus on to Diana and then moving directly to this. But that said, I guess it's kind of nice to have one iPhone and one Android device to be able to have those comparisons and those experiences to compare against. But the iPhone does not see a lot of heavy use. I mean, I test the beta stuff to see does it get better? Is it better? And it gets a little better, but I cannot see myself certainly not moving from the Pixel 2 XL experience to the iPhone 8 experience. Not even close. Not even close. Okay, so now that I'm sorry, we were talking about the Star Wars thing.
Tony's iPhone 10 is shipping finally.
Yes, that's what you said.
Someone thought I was saying that yours was. Or something.
No, mine isn't. It's that Tony is not me. See, in the channel title actually says Chris Pirillo's Tech Geek Nerd Talk or whatever the hell it is. I just crammed as many words in there as I could to make it stand out. You know what I could do to throw everybody off? Just name both channels Chris Pirillo. That would just drive people nuts, I'm sure. I don't want to call this channel LockerGnome, even though that's the channel's username. It's a legacy redirect, but I think people know of Chris Pirillo as LockerGnome. It's just an easier way to separate the two. LockerGnome means nothing to anybody anymore. It's a worthless brand, and I'm saying that as someone who's built it from scratch, but it doesn't mean anything.
But it's still one of the first things on YouTube.
Right, it's still there, but that's where you can find the LockerGnome, the username. Byron Visato 09 says, "Hey Chris, is there anything Disney can do with Star Wars that will disappoint you so much that your fandom kind of halts?" It has for some people, but I guess I don't see that as a problem because I remember the way things used to work, and I've made these points in the past as well. Where you'd have an extreme lack of something, and I'm sitting there last night after I think was it. Yeah, no, I was sitting there and, being able to watch Rebels, a Star Wars Rebels, a cartoon, a show, on TV. I enjoyed that greatly. And I remember a time where I would have wished and wanted for something like that it just didn't exist. So I'd rather have more than enough than not enough at all. I'd rather bathe in it than live in a desert. And that's my... that's my take. I don't think Disney can mess it up, unless they really totally just go far off the course and really don't understand what makes Star Wars Star Wars. Give me more merchandising, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing I think that's off limits for me. Marble Dash says, "I don't think YouTube will allow the same exact channel name unless you capitalize the letter different, possibly." But like I said, the LockerGnome Daily Report I think is a good title, but I don't think anybody knows what LockerGnome is. And when I say anybody, I don't mean you. I'm talking about new users. What are new users going to think? Who are new users going to know? Who are new people who have no idea who I am? Who are they going to know? What's going to provide that kind of context for them? How can I better cross-promote both channels with some amount of similar kind of brandability? And to me, that's my name. So this one is the live... video channel. Every video that's published in this channel, as it was kind of originally intended to be, is live. The Star Wars Radar channel will of course be Star Wars, and even though I'll be able to do other videos in it, the crux of it will likely be, if we see a good uptake, is the Battlefront gameplay or the Star Wars video gameplay. I'm going to give it a go. I don't know how well it's going to go. I don't know how many super chats we're going to do. I don't know if the engagement's going to be solid. I don't know. I'm just not going to throw everything into one channel. I can't start streaming live gaming into this channel because it doesn't fit the same way. It's got to be dedicated to that, and it seems like it's a good time to at least experiment with that. I'm hoping super chat will work during those live video series. Discord chat, unfortunately, I can't incorporate on the PS4, and I'm the kind of guy I just want it to work. I want to press a button and I want to be done with it. I screw up things like at the beginning, even when Liz reminds me to do something, I still screw it up. Like I started live streaming into another channel at the beginning of this feed, and all I'm trying to do is eliminate any possibilities of me failing. So that's why I stay away from a lot of the things that a lot of people chase. I need it easy, simple. Someone says, I'm interested in the Pixel 2 XL. I have an iPhone 7 Plus now. It just seems that Apple has given up on making innovative choices. iOS has mostly been the same for years now. You know what? Expect it to be the same. Apple's not going to change it unless they make some radical changes with iOS 12, which I would hope they would do. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, that would be the thing that would ultimately pull me back in. It's more of the same. It's iOS. I don't know what was going on. Yeah. As Liz points out, LockerGnome was a nickname. It was an old high school nickname that I parlayed into a website. If I had a chance to do it again, I'd probably do it the same way. I may have actually gone with my name, although the problem with that is that personal brand association. So some people only see me as just this one thing and this one topic, which is maddening for me. Because even then, you know, as I've spoken to, I don't see technology the same way you do. I don't. Like, we're talking about it, we're sitting here talking about it, but I don't worship it. And I think a lot of you do. I don't mean that as a slag. You know, I worship Star Wars, right? But I don't see it the same way you do. I'll talk about it, but I'll talk about it the way that I need to talk about it, the way I want to talk about it, the way I see things, not the way you see things. And I think there's a disconnect there. So, like, even what's happening today in the other channel, a lot of people happen to agree with me that these $1,000 smartphones are just incredibly overpriced for what you might get in return for those, compared to other options in the marketplace. It's a commodity at this point. Smartphones are a commodity. Technology is increasingly becoming pervasive, right? I need to beat this into your skulls, but I say these things for a reason. I see these things differently. And LockerGnome became associated with me, but people became interested in me, not so much the word LockerGnome. So as a brand, I understand technology, but I understand technology's role and its place as an enabler, not a destination. Which is why I tend to, you know, appreciate being, you know, hearing the feedback I do from people who don't understand technology. It's why I believe my audience is more of the people who don't understand what I know. So when someone asks, like Better Said asks in Super Chat, asks me a question related to business, I was happy to do that because I'm happy to talk about that business stuff. You know, I've been doing it for so long. I'm not just a creator, but I'm a creator who understands business, to be able to help other creators who are trying to understand business, or other entrepreneurs who are trying to do what they're trying to do on the internet, as I did 20 years ago. I've got the experience to speak to that. So technology enabled me to do those things. Technology unlocked those various experiences. Software enabled all those experiences for me to be able to succeed. So it's not I was reveling in technology for the sake of it being technology, right? I never fawned over technology the same way that I fawn over a Star Wars figure. So there's an absolute relevance to bringing Star Wars into this series. Number one, because it's geeky. Number two, because it's for everybody. And number three, because, you know, my life does not revolve around technology. Technology revolves around me. And I see it as an option, not an absolute. Everyone's going to have a different perspective. I'm not taking away, you know, if technology is your God, knock yourself out. I think that's a massive mistake for you to make. Technology is not a religion. Star Wars, or Jedi, is a religion, but I'm not sitting here saying I'm a Jedi. My daughter's a Jedi. The Jedi code is a nice code. I mean, it's very, very respectable. You know, it's the same reason why, you know, I feel that, you know, you've got to find something that's going to make you happy. And I don't think technology is going to make you happy. It's what technology does that makes you happy. Technology itself ain't going to make you happy. Because that'd be like me saying, look at this device is amazing, but it's not on. But it doesn't matter, it's amazing. But there's no battery, it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, but it's amazing. It's not the technology for the sake of technology. It's what the frickin' technology does, people. I miss your old sign off on the 3-finger salute. Haven't done it in years because it caused too much confusion. I got tired of explaining it over and over and over again. And quite honestly, I think a lot of that is, I mean, I'm not calling you a dying breed. I'm the dying breed. I'm old guard. I did that because, you know, the old 3-finger salute was what you did. Control, Alt, Delete. You ask the average millennial these days to do a 3-finger salute, and they'd be like, what are you talking about? They wouldn't know what it is. That's old school. So, you know, I'm not saying I changed with the times. It's just I'm trying to save myself from causing so many headaches and having to explain things. And trust me, the fewer questions I have to answer on a regular basis, if they're the same questions, the happier I am. So once I took that off the table, I was happy. Like, no one asked, why do you do 3 fingers? What's wheel you later? Wheel you later? What does that mean? Like, oh, God. Back in the day, there were... E was a new thing, like email. or e-commerce, or e-this or e-that. And so it was an old call, or an old sign-off when I was hosting a radio show on terrestrial radio, and I just said, we'll e you later. Like, see you later. It was a play on that. So I combined that with a 3-finger salute when I went on to Tech TV as kind of my sign-off. It didn't make sense, but for those who knew what it meant, it was an inside joke. And I just got tired of telling the same inside joke. So it's just far easier to end the videos the way that I end them now. I know some people miss that, but I promise you it's not coming back. I think Zach Berjawi did a super chat, and he says, okay, you got to do a 3-finger salute. And then I did it. But that was I think it was the last time I planned on doing it. 3-finger salute was actually my first Patreon AMA question. Really? That's funny. See, some people just didn't know. Yeah, I saw this question here. Do you think John Williams phoned it in for The Force Awakens? Music is a super important part for Star Wars, and for the life of me, I can't recall any new memorable themes. Are you still connected with Empire Avenue, Chris? No, I haven't. I have not thought about Empire Avenue. Empire Avenue pooched itself years ago. The Force Awakens, originally I wasn't sure about it, but Rey's theme I love. Kylo Ren's, of course, is also now, in memory. I love the Resistance, the March of the Resistance. It is memorable. I mean, it's not. I can't hold it, to some, older classics. But if you listen to Star Wars Oxygen, you'll get a better appreciation for the nuance of the soundtrack and just how it kind of dovetails with certain underlying themes. And I think John Williams did some brilliant interweaving with certain themes in and throughout the movie that I thought were haunting and chilling. And I felt that even listening to it the first time, not just after I understood kind of how the music was, how it was scored. But I thought he did an amazing job, and I only appreciated it more the more I happened to learn about it. The Last Sith says, Star Wars is timeless. iPhone 10 only lasts a few months. People already moved to next year's iPhone rumors. Thank you. You've said it all, The Last Sith. That's precisely what I'm saying. This figure is going to be worth more than your phone. I'm sorry, not sorry. It's also going to last a lot longer, and the batteries are never going to die because it doesn't have batteries. It's a different thing, though. That's a toy. That's a collectible. The phone is not a toy. The phone is not a collectible. It's a tool. It's a hammer with a battery. It's an electric hammer is what it is. How long have I been saying that? Well, probably too long because we're now over an hour. I'd like to move on to go to twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo to record the podcast. Thank you for tuning in for TLDR. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the super chats. Hope to see everybody tomorrow for an early edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report in this channel, provided I stream into the proper channel tomorrow. But I can and I will, because tomorrow afternoon in the Pacific time zone, we're going to be live streaming the iPhone 10 device drive thing. I titled it already. The chance for you to get an iPhone 10 for me. And that sounds so horrible. The chance for you to get an iPhone 10 review from me. That is fair. And that's the way I'm framing it. Some people love it, that idea. Some people hate it. You're more than welcome to participate or not. Completely up to you. It's an option. May not happen. I have no expectations that it will happen. But I'm going to give you an opportunity up to 4 hours to make it happen. Tomorrow is the day. So thank you for tuning in tomorrow, if you do. If you watched this far into a live video after it was live, I need you to leave a comment. Not the people watching live. You guys try to do this, but that's not the point. Death Trooper, you have to leave as a comment to this video if you're watching after it was live. I'm curious to know. Just work it somehow into the comment that you leave. Say, boy, I had some good Death Trooper pasta tonight. It sounds weird, but it's like, I think that's fun to do. Just to know where you guys or how you're tuning in or when you're tuning in. Twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo is also where you can go to become a sub of mine to get access to Discord. Patreon.com/Chris Pirillo is another place you can go to get access specifically to Discord chat. We have a final super chat from Thanks Chris. Better Said writes, Thanks Chris. I appreciate you, man. # Death Trooper. So you're watching live, obviously, but the people who aren't watching live after the fact, I'm curious to know. We may get like 2 or 3 comments, but I'd be shocked. Thank you for tuning in. Heading over to twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo right now is just getting set up with my lav and my attachment to the phone that I'm using to record. I'll do like a 20-minute podcast, taking your questions, continuing to take your questions, assuming you still have them. I'll be watching Discord and Twitch chat over there. And then see you tomorrow for TLDR and the iPhone 10 video. Who did that?
Speeding Cheetah.
Speeding Cheetah, you win. I love you. I appreciate you. But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the Force be with you.